Good evening. Welcome to Earth to the Other Side. I'm John, your host, and tonight I have the pleasure of speaking with Alicia Heath, who had a near-death experience back when she was 15 years old, and she's also written a book called Accessing Past Lives with the Help of Technology. Her NDE taught her how to basically connect with and learn about past lives, which I find absolutely fascinating. So, Alicia, welcome to the show. It's great to have you on the channel.
It's great to be here, John. Thank you very much for the invitation. And good evening, everybody. It is evening where I am, and maybe not evening where you are, but we live in a different time zones, and it's great that we can all share our experiences.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We're so lucky. So I'm just going to hand the floor over to you, and you can tell us all about your near-death experience, and maybe we can get into some of the past life stuff too. That would be great.
I was, as you said, I was 15 at the time, and I was full of energy, and I was climbing the mountains. And it was a summer holiday, and I was with a group of friends going up the highest mountain in Poland where I lived. And it has an elevation of about 8,200 feet, which is about 2,500 meters above the sea level. And in the upper regions, the climate is typically alpine or subarctic because of the elevation. So, despite of it being summer, the upper regions of the mountain were covered in snow. So, because I was so full of energy, I led the ascent with two of my 17 years old male friends, and we were the first one to the top and also the first one to make our way down. And while we were descending on the snow, we spotted this man using his feet like skis, and we thought, wow, that's really looks fun. So my friend who was kind of below me, he said, oh, why don't you slid to me and I will catch you? So I agreed and I slid. And when he tried to catch me, my hand slipped from his grasps, causing me to fall on my backside and continue sliding down the snow. And as I was gaining speed, sliding down the snow, my backpack twisted on my back and its straps were winding around my wrists. So, in fact, my hands were sort of bound behind me, and I only had legs to guide me. I struggled to maintain control because I was going faster and faster, and the slippery snow amplified my speed. And suddenly I realized that I was nearing the end of this slope, leading to a steep vertical drop that I observed while I was going up the mountain. And that was the moment when I suddenly seemed to have popped out of myself. And I had a life review at that time. I mean, it was really weird because in our earthly time, it was literally seconds, but I actually relived the whole 15 years of my life. And it was like being again, living everything again, looking at my life again. And it didn't take few seconds. It took 15 years. It seemed to be just going on forever. But in our lifetime, in our earthly time, it was just literally seconds. And I said to myself, after just looking through my life, I'm not ready to die yet. And this is when I found this slight chance to save myself. Because as I was coming to the edge of the slope, literally there was just a meter away from dropping down, I noticed that this slope is going slightly up on one side. So I put all my weight on my hip and on my leg, and I tried to turn to slow down basically this fast speed I was going with. And I managed to stop literally about seconds from the drop. And it was quite kind of where as I got up, I looked at my friends who were looking down, terrified because they didn't think I'm going to stop. So I made my way to the path, and my legs and the whole body was trembling. It was quite stressful experience, and I kind of didn't know what to make of this life review sort of thing. And so I didn't tell anybody at the time because I was 15 and I was confused, and I was quite happy to kind of be not be dead, to be honest. So um And after that, I kind of realized that it's sort of like it opens some kind of door between different worlds, maybe. It's a kind of connection. And I had a lot of dreams of lives, of sort of situation, of past lives, historical events. And some of them were repetitive, kind of go happening several times in my lifetime, and then suddenly I started to kind of put things together. Well, one dream in particular made me think, because in that dream I was looking in the mirror and I looked completely different, and I was thinking, well, but that's me. Why am I looking completely different? And the dream was set in the 1940s in Paris, and when I was a child, I had this weird fascination with French language. I don't know where it came from, because I had nothing to do with my family with French language, because my family is Polish and nobody spoke any French. But I was so obsessed with it that I would tune into the radio just to listen to French. And that was really strange. I don't know where it came from. And when I went to school, I sort of forgot all about it. And in fact, I speak 5 languages, but I never learned French. So it was it was quite a funny story. But that I remember that early days, early just before going to school, that I was like sort of watching any French film I could see, and that dream of being in France in the 1940s made me think that I was somebody else. And then I was kind of, because like this, I find out that it wasn't just me having this kind of events. There were a lot of people on the internet when the internet was around. Then I discovered that there are people who had this kind of things happening to them. And so I started to do a bit more research. And then I found out that we can access this knowledge. I call it universal knowledge. It's a kind of, it's basically all the thoughts and events and words that were said throughout the history by everybody, and we can access to them and ask questions and find out information. So this is what I was kind of starting to do, and then that helped me to discover what some of my dreams were, and basically who I was and where I lived. And this was a really fascinating journey. So I in my book I actually give away how to get into this information, because there are lessons to be learned from who we were, because it seems that well, we are we live through different lives, so we are not just we don't have just one life. And this is quite something, because I was brought up in a Catholic family, and obviously we believe that you are born and then you're dead, and then you have to be judged for what you did. And when I discovered that in fact I was living around before, it was kind of quite a blow to my beliefs, because there is no word of reincarnation in Christianity, as well as other religions. I mean, there are obviously the Hindu religion and the Buddhist belief, but the Islam or the Christianity doesn't have a word of reincarnation. But I could not deny the facts. And this was quite an interesting journey that led me to interesting discoveries, I think.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing all that. That's I really. What do you think the records you were referring to are like the Akashic records?
That's what they was, in fact, called before, yes.
Okay.
But I discovered that the Akashic records, the name was actually only used in the 19th century.
Yeah.
And I think that I mean, they have been accessed before by people in like even ancient times, because there is no doubt there is a lot of people who gain knowledge from those. But I prefer to call it universal knowledge, because it's like the knowledge of
Yeah, it
of
makes sense.
everybody
Hmm.
in the universe. And
Yeah,
Akashic, maybe someone will not understand what it is because
true.
I think you have to get into sort of certain way of thinking to find out this information.
Yeah, they'd have to look it up.
That's
Yeah, I
right.
know what you mean. Yeah. So, I'm curious as to like when you had your life review, did you see it like in other interviews that I've done, people have mentioned different perspectives. So,
No, that was actually just from my own perspective. And also, what is different to my life review is that there wasn't really any other person in it. I mean, I couldn't see what was happening from the perspective of other people. So it was just like me memorizing and kind of going through it again. But yeah, it was like I heard that many people have live reviews and they hear they meet people, they kind of talk to them and they can see events from other people's perspective. For me, it was just my own perspective and kind of but what was interesting, I seem to pop out kind of to the left of myself. So the live review was happening on the left and my body was on the right. So that was really weird because, I was still there was nothing that sort of made me lose my conscience. It was just the only factor that I was about to die. So I was still kind of,
knowing that drop being there, oh, yeah, that is scary.
in fact,
Yeah.
last year there was a person who died on that because there
Oh,
was
really?
exactly the accident that just because that it goes on for about, I mean, I was sliding for about 200 meters on that snow and I was going really fast. So they was really, really lucky that I did stop. But I haven't mentioned before, but I had several other kind of experiences where I nearly died because I was in 3 car accidents, and it's sort of it's like you would think that there is like always for me the way out, but I seem to be like carrying on and staying still to for some kind of purpose. Yet to discover what that purpose will be. Although my recent kind of work is on healing because um, I find out that we can heal ourselves and we can also heal other people. We have the amazing access to the energies that I think it's God's energy. And you can call it God, you can call it source, you can call it in quantum physics, they say it's an energy of the vacuum of the point zero. So whatever your beliefs, whatever you call it, we have access to that amazing, powerful, creative, and healing energy. And when you learn how to access it with your body, then you can do amazing things. Because, like I've learned really just kind of in the last couple of weeks, I learned how to get rid of any pain within like minutes of having it. So, I'm sort of getting on and sometimes you have pains in the body here or there and I kind of learned how to do it to get rid of them really quickly. And so I think uh, we have amazing powers if we can just focus on our energetic body because our body is not just this. We are kind of spirits that can access the God's power.
So, what degree are you referring to in terms of pain? Because I'm sure a lot of people that are watching this, yeah, have, experienced chronic pain or still do, or, it's chronic. So, is it something that they would be able to, you
Yes,
know,
definitely. I,
mhm.
I think anybody is able to do this. I actually got this is not really this is science, you could say, because uh, okay, there is some spirituality because there is reference to the chakra points, but the chakra in Hindu language means actually circle, and these points are the points of like a circle points of our energy where the energy can be absorbed the most. And once you learn how to open them, you can heal yourself instantly because you have this. I in fact I noticed this a long time ago because I was traveling in India, for example, and I was in this kind of mountain which was full of temples, and when you stand, there was always like a point on the floor in the temple where there was some kind of circle or some kind of mark that if you stood in that point, you could feel like almost tingling in your hands. And I could always feel that. And there were, because I was quite lucky to travel quite a lot, there are many places like that on our planet where you could actually charge this energy. I mean, quite recently, I was also in Egypt. And I was quite shocked at how strong the energy is in, for example, Karnak Temple. I stood there by the altar, what they called altar, and I was just getting this energy into my hands. And I realized that, and really, um, once you charge this up, it's so powerful that you don't even have to eat. I mean, I managed to not eat for 3 days because I was still full of this energy. So it's kind of really strange. But yes, we all have this power. You just have to. They call it bio energy, or they call it different names. But you charge it with your hands, and then you can just run your hands through painful places. When you start feeling this kind of circle in your hands, which is like an energy wheel, and you concentrate this, and then you put it in a painful area, and the pain will disappear. But you also have to, it's very important that you believe that this will happen, because the belief is crucial. It's like you are manifesting your reality. And I was quite shocked when first time I could cure my own pain, because I didn't expect it to work so quickly, but it works like within minutes. But you have to be really strongly convinced, and this is what's going to happen. So I'm kind of working still on it because it's kind of fresh for me, but I hope to write a book for people to basically know exactly how to do it. Because in the last book, I only tell people how to access the past lives, but in this book, I would like to tell people how to heal themselves. So that's my hope.
So speaking of your book, which is entitled Accessing Past Lives with the Help of Technology, I haven't read it yet, but I'm very interested in reading it. And so, can you give us an idea, without giving too much away, what it is that you're talking about when it comes to technology and past lives?
The book consists of two parts. The first part is basically tells you how you can access the information, but accessing the information for me wasn't enough. I wanted to know if they are real information. So I wanted to confirm that what I accessed was actually historically correct or geographically correct. And this is where I use technology to kind of prove that this is the case. So it's not really like, you use special gadget for it or anything like this. It's just that you use technology to confirm that what you find out is correct. Because obviously we want to know that what we're getting, it's real story, not some kind of fantasy. And the second part of the book is basically what I managed to discover. So there were 10 of my own past lives, and there were 13 of other people, about 13 of other people past lives, because I found that if someone gives me permission, I can also enter the universal knowledge and find out what their life was about. We are all connected, so I think this is quite possible. But also sometimes I had this one story that someone supposedly gave me permission, but wasn't really sure about it, and then I couldn't access that person past life. So it's everybody's free will. So if someone wants, then I can do it, but if someone doesn't want, then I won't be able to do it. So it works like this.
That's interesting. So right after you had your out of body experience, near death experience, I mean it is a near death technically, but it's definitely an OBE. Did you tell anyone immediately following that event?
Not really, no, because I didn't, as I said, I was 15 at the time, so I
Mm,
didn't really understand it. It was only with the time, with other events happening, that I realized that what it really was. As I said, it was like opening the doors
mm,
to what happened afterwards. So but after I mentioned it to some friends during some kind of discussions, but really not too much into details. There were, because, like, for example, someone said, "Oh, when you die, you're supposed to see your life passing, flashing by." And I said, "Yes, exactly. That's what you do. You see your life flashing by and you relive it again." And they said, "How did you know?" And I said, "It's because it happened to me." So just I wasn't really getting into details, and also because many people in my circle wouldn't kind of understand, or they would think that you're crazy, or they would think that I think you have to, find like-minded people to understand these stories. So
mm,
that's why I preferred not to talk too much about it.
mm.
But it definitely changed my life. So I mean, my
Yeah.
life has been the same.
So why do you think that it was presented to you in that way? Like why do you think that were able to see a life review at that moment when you didn't actually take that drop, thank God. But yeah.
I think it's maybe it's we have some kind of paths to discovery that we are not basically. Um, I think we all should be seeking the truth, what it is that we are doing here, and what is the reason why we are here. And sometimes we are set on the wrong path just because we are born somewhere, or we are someone, and kind of um, maybe in a way brainwashed by our society, by everything around us, and we have to find the truth. And if you have this kind of need to find the truth, that this call to find the truth, then I think the God or the universe gives you opportunities. So this kind of life review is a kind of eye-opening experience to say, look, there is more. There is, you need to seek the truth. What is it? Who is it that you are, and what is it that you are representing? And in fact, I think, like, getting to know my past lives helped me with some kind of realization that we are also sometimes repeating the same themes in our lives, and kind of repeating from a different angles. It's like we in one life we could be this person, and in another life we could be someone else. And in fact, I also describe the story of my daughter, because she was born on day of my father's death. And when she was little, I mean, children often remember past lives. And like I mentioned, the French language, fascination. And when she was little, she's the only child. But when I asked her to draw her family, she drew six children. And I said to her, "Oh, who are they?" And she said, "What are my brothers and sisters?" I said, "But you only child." And she said, "No, no, they're my brothers and sisters." And then I looked at that drawing and I realized that she drew my father's siblings in the exact order of, boy, girl, girl, boy, in exact order as they were. And she put herself in the place of my father in his family. So
Hmm.
that was really bizarre.
That's really
And,
cool. Yeah.
yeah. And I've got, and you kind of think, and there was other incidents when I was changing her diaper, and she said to me, because she was nearly 2 at the time, and she said to me, "When you were little, I changed your diapers, and now you're changing mine."
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and I looked at her. I said, "What do you mean?" And then I must tell you that when I was 18 months old, my mom died. So I was left with my dad, and he must have changed my diapers because he was my only carer then, and my brothers obviously around. And so what she said, and I remember when my father was alive, he kind of said that he hated doing that. So, you know, it was funny that my daughter mentioned this when she was little, only two.
Feel so closely connected, right?
Yeah, it's a kind of makes you think, you know, if if everything, is connected, then is it like obviously I try to find kind of scientific explanation. Perhaps this genetic memory, sometimes people remember these things from like in our genes, but
I just don't think
it's
that science can explain everything. There's just like, needs to be a happy blend and everyone just needs to relax. So you had mentioned that this had changed your life in many ways, the NDE on the mountain. So do you want to talk about how, other ways that it changed things for you?
well, you can manifest things into your life. This is something what I also learned. That our like when I said I'm not ready to die, and I found this way to stop the fall and kind of save myself. So I discovered in life later on that whatever you want happening in your life, you can manifest into your life. And this is what um, I say to people, you have to be very careful about your thoughts because your thoughts are quite powerful. And if you kind of always negative about something, then this will happen to you because you keep repeating the same negative thoughts. So we have to control our thoughts in a positive way. We should always try to be positive, and then the positive things happen. And in fact, this was quite interesting because I always manifest people into my life. Like if I need someone's help, then suddenly this person appears and kind of helps me, or someone completely, stranger appears and helps me. And this is just amazing that you can it's kind of have control over your life. So you don't have to. I think we create our own destiny with our minds and our thoughts. So and also I think that with this energy, I do this. In fact, this meditation technique where I call it love light, when you actually imagine that the love and light fills you from the above, and then you can pass it not just to yourself but also to other people. And in fact, we've got a group on Facebook which is called Light Workers, and we kind of focus on global issues that we are facing at the moment, because there are some sort of war conflicts on our planet which can potentially change into something. So we are focusing to stop that, and we're focusing on gaining peace. And it was quite funny because when there's about 200 people on this group, and when I posted this meditation that please focus on Gaza Strip and the conflict there, and 3 hours after I posted it, I found that actually they had some treaty to stop fire, and it was like, it could be coincidence, but I think maybe not. Our thoughts, and especially our thoughts combined with other people, because when we join in our efforts together, we can be very powerful in bringing a positive change.
I 100% agree with that. Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. Power of
Yes,
prayer is real. Yeah.
that's right, because
Mm.
prayer is just like joining the focus on the same thing. So um, I think I think we should remember this, and it's kind of get rid of any fear that we have, because the fear is also quite powerful to manifest the bad situation. And in fact, we should just focus on positive.
It's been great talking with you. Thank you for
Thank
sharing your
you.
whole experience. And I'll put a link, if you have a link, we'll put a link in
Mhm.
the description box for your book so
Mhm.
that if anyone wants to order it, they can.
Mhm.
That'd be cool, yeah?
Great, that's
All right.
fantastic. And thank you. Thank you for
Awesome.
letting me share my story.
Thank you so much and blessings to you.
And you all. Thank you, John.
You're
Goodbye.
welcome. Bye bye.